Hi, thanks for tuning in to What's Happening with Chastity and Brian. I'm Chastity and this is Brian, and we're live on jessfm.ca and Jess TV streaming live on Roku TV. Today we have a special guest, Feng Zhou from China, and he's a comedian touring Canada. He's, I believe, the only comedian on a visa in Canada, if that's correct. So it's kind of an exciting show for us. Brian and I've had like this insane week, but because it was insane, what the heck? Let's do an extra show, right, Brian? Because we're not too busy already.
That's my style.
That's our style.
Yes.
We like to
cram it on.
So our life hasn't been that busy, really, compared to Feng Zhou. Where are you coming here from today?
We drove from Fort St. John, and then the day before we were in Prince George.
So this is like big distances. So Prince George is about 1,000 kilometers from Fort Nelson. But over the past few months, you have been traveling across Canada?
Not across Canada, but the distance is like across Canada. I started in Fernie, and then went to Hawaii, and then I went to Jasper, and then back to Prince George for a few surrounding areas, and now I'm here.
That's awesome.
Beautiful areas though in those parts. When you
Yeah.
get right into the mountains, you just kind of zone out.
It's definitely nice.
Gorgeous.
So how are you in Canada doing a comedy tour? What brought you here?
I came here as a student about 10 years ago. I studied finance for 5 years, and I figured I was probably going to get out of it at some point. So if that's the case, I'm not going to even waste one day of my life. I'm just going to go straight to what I'm passionate about, which is comedy.
That's a big difference, finance to comedy. So did you go into finance because it was something you wanted to do, or was it something like your family wanted you to do? How was that?
It was a little bit both of me and my family. It was a pretty good career, I would say. Most my friends from school are working for, the big banks. It's a decent job, but I would rather enjoy my life than making the money that I couldn't enjoy. So
Brian and I have talked a lot about that, just like grasping your life and, bringing balance to it, enjoying.
You can't always do things with certainty. You have to have this element of unexpected to make it interesting. So that's a pretty neat radical difference that you went to. So was it Waterloo?
Yes, I went to Waterloo. Yeah.
How was when you started there? How was that experience? Was it a tough crowd there? Or?
So it's actually quite surprisingly interesting, because I expect to meet a lot of the local students, but when I went there, it was mostly Chinese students. So about half of the class, we didn't even speak English in the class. The instructor just taught the whole class in Chinese. So.
Oh, really? Well, that's interesting. Wow, I wouldn't have guessed. And you're going out to meet people from different countries, and then you're meeting people from your own country. So that's a different way to go.
Did you find any local homies that were like in your?
Oh, absolutely. So like, I would definitely say Chinese people think alike, right? If I or my family think finance is a promising career, probably the other Chinese student will think the same. So that's probably how we end up in Waterloo. Like, what's the chances? Yeah, we're all in Waterloo.
So how many shows have you done now since you've switched your career from finance to comedy? Do you know?
I would probably say over 1,000.
Over 1,000
Wow.
shows.
5 years, yeah.
Wow.
You're getting your 10,000 hours in, as they say.
I didn't take any break since I started, except the lockdown when we had
when
to,
you had no choice.
Yeah.
Right, definitely.
But I was working from 2017 to 20, 3 years nonstop, and then when it just opened, I didn't take no break.
Right.
Dedicated to the craft.
Dedicated, that's for sure. So where was your very first gig as a comedian? Do you remember?
Toronto. I started in Toronto.
Okay. And how did that very first show go for you?
No, it didn't go well because it was a very different industry, right? So I just look at it as this, like I'm the only Chinese comedian in that group, and possibly still in the whole scene in Canada. That just nobody is from China is doing comedy. So I took it more as an opportunity than a career. Does that make any sense?
Right, because if you're kind of like the one and only, then maybe you can shine and get something a little different happening.
So what's your advantage to having, the Chinese background?
So because people always think Chinese people are very serious, we can only do like technology jobs. A joke is never a thing. So if just by me showing up in venues would usually surprise people.
Definitely.
Mhm.
I can see that. Definitely. That's pretty cool. So where are you playing tonight? Where's your show tonight?
Is that Boston Pizza?
Boston Pizza. And that's at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you are located in Fort Nelson, come out to Boston Pizza and check out his show. And can you tell us about what you do at your shows for supporting families?
So I used to do comedy before the lockdown. I used to do comedy just for business. I did a show, pure business, and I left the town, no interaction with the crowd or the community. And so after a while, I started to connecting with the community more, especially after the lockdown. I saw a lot of people were suffering. The family I know or the people from the news. I just wanted to add a charity feature on my tour. Return a favor to the community that supported me along the way.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Pretty honorable.
I've crossed the country, I would say probably 40 times so far.
What?
Yeah, people always been very nice to me and they put me up, they feed me. So now it's the time I give back to the community.
Do you have any favorite moments of when you really connected with someone you helped?
Yeah, just to see the smile on their face, like the family in Terrace that we work together. The person was in the hospital battling the cancer, and according to their family, she hasn't laughed or smiled for a while, but it was that show actually made her laugh smile for a long time.
That's cool.
So when I see
That's
that,
cool.
that's all I.
Yeah. You
That's
get
pretty cool.
emotional when you see
Absolutely,
when you make a
absolutely.
positive impact. I
And
like that.
so who are you supporting here in Fort Nelson?
It's for Katie June's family.
Mm-hmm.
I heard she was suffering from a rare disease, and
I believe it was aplastic anemia, and Katie lost her battle earlier this year, which has been super tough on her family. My heart goes out to her whole family, and I can't even imagine, what that would be like. And I think it's so commendable that you're, the thing is the hurt and the challenges for a family like that doesn't stop at the end of the journey. It's still going, and that support that you're providing for them, I'm sure it's so much appreciated. That's for sure.
Absolutely. So one thing I want to talk about was how laughter is kind of a universal language, and it really transcends even like whether you can speak someone's language or not. And what was it for you that you connected with most in comedy?
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. Because in the past, when I study finance and I try to talk to people, it's very technical. People had no idea what was talking about, the culture difference, everything. But ever since I started doing comedy, I feel like I had more connection with people in general everywhere else. Just something about the laughter that separates from your personal belief, the politics view, everything. So that when the laughter comes to the scene, everybody just forget about what they worry about the past and then just focus on the moment and laugh together.
That's awesome.
That I found that when we had comedians in the pub, it didn't matter the different people come together. As soon as the jokes start flowing, it just changes the dynamics in the room.
You can set it up so that once you get one laugh, it's like you're primed, right?
Yeah.
You're ready for the next one.
That's true.
And even for my personal experience, like I used to dream about like walking Wall Street, making I don't know like 200,000 years, right? But after doing comedy for a while, and then every night I don't know 120 people applaud for me, I will make zero a month having that than working on Wall Street. Now not enjoying what I was doing. So.
Quality of life. Yeah. Doing something meaningful. I absolutely support
so
that.
If you are a listener there and you're hearing what he's saying, if you're in that path that doesn't bring you any joy, you've got to find something that brings you happiness, brings you joy, can make you smile and make you laugh, because otherwise it's probably not the best journey. So maybe it's more about the journey. So you've been on the road so long. How do you stay motivated and focused?
And part of the reason is when I think about, okay, tonight there are gonna be people like 120 people applauding for me, so that would definitely keep me motivated. And also, I'm always motivated by this comedian named Da Shan. So his Canadian name is Mark Roswell. Probably you don't know about him.
No, I don't.
So this story would surprise you, because he is straight from Ottawa, and he started learning Mandarin when he was 19 years old.
Wow.
And some reason he got interested in it, and now he's the most famous stand-up comedian in China.
Oh.
He has more follower than any other comedian.
I should know about this individual.
You should.
Because he doesn't do shows here or like in English. He hasn't been on any like the Just for Laughs, all that, because he's only concerns the Chinese market.
Wow.
When he comes back to Canada, he does a university tour just for the Chinese students.
Okay, so he
that's
doesn't even
cool.
do English.
So when you got into comedy, did you get to practice in China?
I did a comedy a little bit, and it was Chinese comedy. It's a 2-person, so like sort of like a crosstalk. It was very different than here. It's more like a theater play. We wrote a script.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not very flexible as a stand-up where you interact with the crowd.
Okay.
Yeah, no matter how the crowd interact, we're gonna just do the same play every.
So when you're out there tonight, and if the crowd's not biting on your jokes, do you kind of like change?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
really? Just on the fly?
Yeah.
Just on the. I don't know. I don't think I could be a comedian, guys.
So you started your journey in Canada with comedy? Is that accurate?
Stand-up, yes.
So you kind of built your chops with this Canadian feel to it. So
yeah.
going back to China must have been somewhat of a different experience.
But now I see more culture shock in China than here.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm just enamored with knowing about other cultures and stuff. When I get the opportunity, I just kind of get in there and twist a few screws.
The language, right? So English letter, it's a 1D, one direction. You start from left.
Yes.
You go from right.
Yes.
Chinese language is 2D. You not only go from left to right, you go from down to up.
Oh, down
Oh,
to
wow.
up.
It's a 2D. We build the character 2D, two-dimensional. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty fascinating. Now, okay, this is probably why the whole finance thing comes into place. If you're reading in 2D, you might be a little ahead of the game, because I can't read that way. So we're pretty special because I feel like I'm the guest, because Feng Zhou brought us food. As soon as he arrived in Fort Nelson, he was cooking, and he brought us dumplings and Chinese pancakes, and he brought us these cool little gifts that say blessings.
Pretty awesome.
So we feel kind of special.
Blessed.
Here.
I feel blessed.
I feel blessed too. I feel pretty blessed. So what's the hardest part about being on the road?
There are times I drove by myself, like, I don't know, 17 hours in a row, that I had nobody to stay beside me. I would say happy time, it's mostly just 30-45 minutes at nighttime. The rest of the time I spend by myself.
Oh,
yeah.
That's really hard.
So tell me about those times when you play in front of 3 people, because I know what that's like.
I've played so many shows where there were more comedians than the audience, right? It definitely feel terrible as a comedian. However, I still try to do my best, because yes, there are 3 people, but they still paid to come see me,
right.
And that's from their hardworking cash. So even if 3 people, I'm gonna try my absolutely, even like 120%.
Wow.
I
never thought about it like that. And you're a musician, so you have that kind of experience.
But I had the same mentality as you. It was like people paid their hard-earned money to see. You've got to leave them with an impression of sorts, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and then chances sense. Like that, when there was occasionally like 3-4 people, right? And usually the show ended pretty well, because now we have personal connection.
Right.
So now the whole show is
more intense.
More intense, and the whole show is about them. Right?
Yeah.
When I do a 200 people show, you know,
Well, that
it's
would be
very
kind of. I
general.
would feel kind of special then, maybe.
Yeah, it's like a private showing, right?
We've had that.
It's a-
We've had that in the pub where we haven't had like a big turnout. Something's happened and it's worked out the night the comedian's coming, not as low as those numbers, but we definitely have had that. And I'd have to say, like, the shows are still phenomenal. Live entertainment's phenomenal.
Well, it's because they're good at what they do, right? And
So you spend almost all the time by yourself. Like,
Mhm.
how do you cope with that? Like, what do you do to pass those hours?
Oh, you know, I'm always busy because when I'm now performing, I'm booking shows, interacting with the media, and talking to the family that I'll be potentially helping in the future. So yeah, they pass very fast in my day.
Right. And
Yeah.
you've already done an interview today, correct?
Yes, I did.
Where was your interview today?
I did an interview with CBC on the phone.
Yeah.
And they were very curious about my Yukon tour.
Right.
That's probably the biggest comedy tour since the lockdown.
Oh, I would imagine.
Mhm.
So where are your stops in the Yukon?
So we're gonna start in Watson Lake.
Yeah.
Then we're gonna head to Adlin, which is not quite Yukon, but it's considered
Yeah.
as a Yukon. And then we're gonna start a few towns like Mount Lauren, Carmax,
Yeah.
Hayes Junction, and then we're gonna head to the White Horse for the main show,
Yes.
and then Dawson City for the last show.
Oh, that will be
I
phenomenal.
got some extended fam jam up there. I'll tell them to come see you.
Please,
Yeah,
please.
that'd be
Oh,
awesome.
you do, hey?
Yeah.
Huh, I'm learning something new every day. That's
And-
pretty cool, though. And so, but this, like, if you have somebody with you on
Mhm.
this trip, so you're not doing this trip completely
Right.
alone, right?
I always try to support local comedians, like wherever I go. I
Oh,
always
okay.
try to. I could totally go on road by myself, but it just many people have helped me in the past. They brought me on the road when they
Okay.
didn't have to. So yeah,
Now you have an opening act. And
Mhm.
who's your opening act tonight?
I wouldn't necessarily opening at. It's more like we
Oh, you're kind of doing it. You're both.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
And so Devin Flame from Prince George.
Devin Flame. Okay, that's pretty cool.
You know,
Hey,
I have to confess, I was trying to look for some of your sets that may have been online. I didn't find any
Mhm.
immediately because I wanted to ask you questions about
Sure.
how you do things, but I don't have any point of reference in that. So tonight's going to be kind of a learning experience for me. And I'm sure I'll have more questions for you afterwards. And
I have a reason for that because I had videos in the past.
Mhm.
I was talking about the stereotype. Have been transitioning to a very different comedian, so
Okay.
I dropped this sets.
Okay, so you're
okay.
transitioning the way you do your show,
Mhm.
so you didn't want people to be just based on that old
Right.
show.
Absolutely.
That's pretty cool.
I
And that's
was
fun.
very
smart.
I sounded very how was that ethnic in the past.
Ah,
Like I almost like rely on my skin color to tell the jokes, which
Right.
at some point many industry professional pointed out. You know, you gotta focus on the jokes rather than the skin color, and they were absolutely right. So that's what I've been doing the past 2 years.
oh, cool.
Jokes, funny is funny, regardless of the skin color, culture, background.
Right.
Wow. It's very universal. I
Mhm.
like that. That's cool.
That's pretty cool. And so when was the last time that you were home?
2019, early 2019.
Just before COVID-19
Yeah.
lockdown. Wow, that's a long time to be away from home.
Mm-hmm.
How does that go for you?
Well, it's you know, it's been tough because I'm the only child in my family. So usually I visit them like, I don't know, every 6 months,
Mhm.
like maximum every 6 months. When I was in school, I visited them like 3 times a year.
Okay.
Yeah, every semester has 3 semesters. At the end of each semester, I was at home. So, and then suddenly it went to like 2 years, and I don't know when I'll ever go back. Like it's almost impossible to go back now. Yeah, with the quarantine, everything.
Right, because you need to quarantine when you arrive there and possibly when you come back as well.
And it would be an issue for me to come back here too because I'm not an essential worker.
Ah,
Right. So either direction is difficult.
wow, that must be hard though on your
Mhm.
family and yourself.
Mhm.
That must be challenging. So you brought us some pretty awesome food. So how do you manage on the road though with the food? Or are you cooking in places? Like how do you manage with food? Because restaurant eating forever would kill me.
And yeah, and also whenever people put me up, or people interviewed me, I always wanted to show a little bit appreciation. And I know most people love Chinese food, so I always cook Chinese food.
Slam dunk here, dude. It was
Slam,
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
pretty amazing. And a funny thing, I believe both of our Chinese restaurants have been closed for like months, right? Or wrong?
Oh, I've seen, kind of been open a little bit here and there.
And so but I think people are, because I see this on rants and raves all the time, like, when is such and such restaurant opening? So so nobody is sharing with us, though. We're not sharing the Chinese food.
We got the source. Listen, back off.
we're not sharing. So what's your favorite home meal to cook?
You mean in Canada or in China?
Both.
Both. Oh, here I would say dumplings.
Dumplings are amazing.
And the fried rice. But back home, because there are a lot more ingredients I can pick from.
Right.
So I do a lot of the spicy chicken. Chinese people is big on the spicy stuff.
What kind of spice?
Like really like spicy. Like you this little bit would
Like
make you
face
cry.
melter.
Yeah, this little bit will make you cry for a whole day.
For the whole day?
Yeah.
Holy, that's intense. Okay, I don't really think that
So you like spicy food?
Somewhere in the middle.
Somewhere in the
Okay.
middle.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can't, like, there's two spicy provinces in China where people just have spicy every day. But I can't live there.
I've went to the dark side with spice once.
Oh.
I'll tell you a small story. There's this hot sauce that comes in a little vial called Plutonium Number 9 by Mad Dog, and it's just like a blood red. It's 9 million Scoville, which is absolutely nutty. And no, I'm telling you now, don't ever think that you need to do this. I've done it. It ended in projectile vomiting.
Oh, it
And
did.
it was
That's
just like,
kind of gross,
okay,
right?
I don't like spice that much. Like
Oh.
that. Yeah. So I'm always interested to know people's threshold of what they find acceptable.
If you eat spicy food like that, are you raised on it right from little kids eating it?
Yeah.
See,
So
Yeah, how young?
Like how young? Just
probably from like I was probably 2-3 years old. Very like
Whoa.
surrounded.
That's like child abuse here.
When you're surrounded by something, you're just
it's just the normal, right?
Wow, that's
So
wow.
would your parents like reduce the spice for a child, or no? That's just supper.
Well, kids started like with the milk, and then quickly they would transition to the food that everybody eat, right? I almost feel like some families, they add this pepper spicy in their milk.
Just gonna say, out comes the bottle, in comes the pepper.
Spicy milk.
Spicy milk. Okay, I couldn't do that, so I would need to bring some.
Wow, that's cool that they get you used to that.
Well, it's like when I was in France and they're talking about the wine, and I'm like, well, when do you get kids involved in wine? They're like 2,
Yeah,
and I was like, oh. Could you imagine drinking red wine at 2?
Kids just trashed.
Well, it's just not the same, though. It's not the same culture around it. So it's more like but I can't even imagine it.
So what else culturally do they do at a young age that maybe you haven't seen in Canada? Is there anything that stands out?
Yeah, so we do a lot of the winter training, which is interesting because you guys have more winter than here, but you don't do the winter training on the kids. What I mean by that is from a young age, the parents send the kids to the winter camp where the kids pretty much have no clothes on.
What?
Yeah, it's
and like, how old is this?
4-5 years old.
And how long do you go to like a winter camp?
Like, it depends on how tough your parents is, but
My mind's blowing
Have
by
you
the
done
minute.
Have you done
yeah,
this?
I've done a few, and also we do the every grade we do the military training. Just to like stand in
Incredible.
in a space like everybody stands like the real soldier. At the beginning of every grade, we do that.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That's
So the
for Zed.
whole thing is to like acclimatize you to like the cold, harsh winters.
And yes, and also the principles, right? The Chinese people is big on principles, yeah.
I wonder how my kids would feel about winter touring.
You break them within minutes.
Chloe would be into it. The other two would be like, no.
That's very fascinating to me.
That's really cool.
So, like, would you like swim in the water and stuff in the winter?
Yeah. I've seen the kids, and you know, was the internet, right, very big in China. So every family pick up the ideas. They all start doing that. And another thing I forgot to mention. It's also I have never seen here. They also let's say a lot of Chinese parents, they do the airplane training. Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
No.
So you been on the plane and where you see the kids are crying, right?
Okay.
So the Chinese parents, well, we got way more people in China, way more population taking a plane. So the chances of having a crying baby in China is a lot higher than here.
Right.
So and the parents realize that, you know, the kids, crying kids will disrupt other passengers. So they train their kids. And I saw this parent train the little girl and make her write a little cute note saying that, by the way, the little kid would always call someone adult, either auntie or uncle, just show respect.
Yeah.
Dear uncle, auntie, I'm sorry that I might be crying, but here's a little candy. So if I cry, I apologize in advance.
Oh.
Well, you groom the crowd.
Yeah, and then you know the parents. That's amazing. They do all sort of training back home, which blow my mind.
Oh, that's pretty smart though, because I mean I've been on some flights.
Does this work with comedy too? So if you just go to the crowd and say,
"Hey,"
can you imagine if a kid like give you a little candy and later on she's crying? You wouldn't be bothered as much.
No, because
That's
you've mentally changed the whole picture. Right?
And chances are, when the kids are doing that, they're not crying. The parents are already doing their job to make sure the kids are not directing other.
Wow, taking notes.
Parental notes. Brian, future
bag of
children.
candy.
I have 3 kids, so I'm going to need a truckload of candy. I'm just kidding. My kids are pretty quiet. I would actually, you know what? Okay, I didn't do that and groom them that way, but that was like a big thing for me, making sure that they behave when we're out in public. And so we've always done a lot of public stuff just so they know how to behave, because I know there's other people who don't take their kids out in public much. And then when they do go out in public, it's just craziness because they don't know how to act. They haven't been in the situation, right? So I tried to like ensure my kids know how to behave and
for what it's worth, your kids are pretty awesome. They're legit. They're
I know, and your wife told me that too, because you know, like apparently my kids just know how to get the work done.
Did I put them to the test today?
Every day. So I'm practicing some different training techniques.
What other fun parenting tips do you have?
Yeah, let's get some more parenting tips. I like this.
Never mind comedy. We could.
This is pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting.
I love it. And that's fascinating stuff.
Yeah. Anything else interesting you want to tell us about
culture shock in
Canada?
Well, it's lots almost like still on a daily basis. Every day I see something like completely different. You know, when I was in Fernie and I saw this which the show I was fundraising for. This gentleman, he was feeding all the homeless people in Cranbrook, which I have never seen in a country, right? He just spent money out of his own pocket and it cooked for them. And later on, he's not just helping them like eat, but also he do a little bit like counseling for them. He helped them.
Wow, that's phenomenal.
Talk about the issues, right? So
people doing good things, man. That's awesome.
That's pretty cool.
So this I have never seen anywhere else other than this gentleman in Cranbrook.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
We need to do more of this.
Yeah, get out there and help more people, and it really changes things.
Well, that's kind of what we're doing, because we're exposing good people to the world.
Yeah, that's our goal. Yeah. It's a different way of doing it, but this is our goal, just to inspire people to, you know, make changes in their life and do something positive. That's pretty.
I have a question. Have you developed any things that you really like about Canada in terms of like some people like the candy or something like that? Is there something about Canada that you really grew on you over the time?
The Canadian Chinese food. I was not
Wow.
a fan in the beginning, but now I'm actually at this stage I prefer the
That's crazy.
ginger beef, the chicken ball, which I've never had.
Those are not even real
What?
Chinese, but they are really good.
It is.
I know, but it's not real Chinese food, but it's real to us.
Back home from where I'm from in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, they had this restaurant that would do chicken balls, but they one-upped it. They did the chicken ball poutine.
Oh,
So it was like craziness. It's like if your heart didn't stop by the end of it, you're good to go for the rest of your life. But
Oh,
I was
shit,
like-
that might be a little bit over the top.
have they done the chicken ball pizza?
Chicken ball pizza.
Hey,
Ooh, you
take
could put a
notes.
little
Yeah.
sweet and
Take
sour sauce on the bottom of the
Chicken ball on the pepperoni pizza. You know?
chicken ball's the new pepper, right? You just
chicken balls are tasty though. Yeah, so that's not like a normal food over in China, that's for sure. And
wow.
I've heard other people say they experienced, going to China and eating the food there and then coming back here, and it's like, yeah, no, it's not the same thing at all. It's like a different cuisine.
Even the pizza back home is very different than pizza here because we add our own topping.
So what kind of topping? do you
I saw one place they do the chicken feet pizza, which most people here don't like, but that's what people back home like. And yeah,
That's
Isn't
exactly.
that crunchy?
You eat the whole foot?
Yeah.
not me personally, but
Oh, he's
Like, what do you do with the bone? I
we
don't know.
Canadianized
it's
him.
the flavor. It's a lot of Chinese food is about the flavor. Like we eat a lot of stuff that has absolutely no meat on it, right? But it's about the flavor, the feeling,
A
Well-
chicken foot pizza. I just envision myself going like, I am biting and it's just like a chicken. Oh, you have a claw. Like, how does that work? I can't
Well, it's-
conceptualize a chicken foot
It's just
pizza.
when people drink, they just have that flavor. I suppose.
Well, you know what? If
Oh, I
you're
see,
doing that
I
and you're
see.
getting the flavor, though, then you're not eating a bunch of calories, so you might stay
Fair,
thinner,
hey, fair enough.
right? It's all about the
Good
flavor.
idea.
Calorie counting. So you just
Gnaw on the bone a
No,
bit.
I don't know. I used to give when the girls were babies, I used to give them like the T-bone of the steak, just the bone, or the corn on the cob with no corn on it, and they would like suck on the cob and just be like super happy.
Well, I guess you were doing the same kind of thing then, I guess.
I guess they might not be impressed that I just told.
You give away the parenting secrets. It's parenting secrets episode with Fangju and Chastity.
Some new things. That's so. Do you have you don't have a time plan to go back home, or do you have a time when you want to settle down and be in one place and not travel as much?
Not anytime soon. I wanted to make a name for myself and possibly gonna go to States when it becomes normal, or probably Australia.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
cool.
there's a big comedy
Cool.
tour in Australia. A
Mhm.
friend of mine, Lars Callio.
Oh, you're not
he's-
Lars though?
So Lars's family's from Fort Nelson.
Oh no.
So Lars is the guy who set me up with all the comedians. So he would have people touring Canada,
Mhm.
and they would make the trip to Fort Nelson for me.
Wow, that's pretty.
Yeah,
pretty
so that's
awesome.
pretty cool. So he's related to people in Fort Nelson, and he's part of he does a tour in the UK and he does a tour in Australia, like all over the place. I think the comedians is kind of a tight grip.
Very
community.
small community. Yeah.
Yeah, so you all kind of know.
So, do you have like an ultimate aspiration or a goal that you'd like to accomplish in the end?
Yeah, so I want to become the Chinese version of that Canadian comedian in China,
Right.
Mark Boswell. So he's like, he made him so like he's like the culture ambassador between China and Canada right now.
That's cool.
Like,
Oh, really? That
is
Everybody,
cool.
everybody knows in China knows about him.
That's pretty
Wow.
cool. That's like a different way to connect with people. But maybe if we connected more over laughter,
Mhm.
things would go a lot
That's what I'm
smoother,
saying.
right?
Laughter,
Than stressful.
it's the equalizer. Is what I like to
Yeah,
call
that's
it.
cool. And
I think I'm getting there because I think when he does comedy in China, he doesn't travel to the for Nelson equivalent of China. He goes to Beijing, Shanghai, the big cities.
okay.
I'm hitting like every single community in the country. That's my
Yeah.
goal. Is like
Really?
that's
To
really my goal now. Is like I'm
hit
only
every-
looking at the town that I haven't been to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been across Canada like 40 times.
Yeah.
I haven't been across Canada at all. Well, okay, I skipped over a couple times, but I've never actually been to every province.
So your comedy approach is like, what's his name? The Art of War, right?
It's like I would describe it like a computer approach. Computer approach is like when one direction doesn't work, quickly switch to another. So I'm gonna just try all the direction that possibly in the market.
You're going to know Canada much more thoroughly that way, because there is a massive difference from when you go into the city and places like these, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite interesting to get that whole spectrum of people that tend to get forgotten in the smaller communities for that matter.
I know Fort Nelson and I know other small communities so appreciate when comedians or musicians come out to places like this, because it's not always feasible for us to go to the centers, especially with the whole COVID thing, right? Being
And
allowed.
I love travel, so it's
Really?
a
You do,
good,
hey?
it's a
Nice.
good combination. So,
Do you have any dream spots that you really want to go to?
oh, probably. So Yukon is definitely one, and then hopefully I can go to Yellowknife.
Oh, I've been
Man,
to
That would be
Yellowknife.
interesting.
I've been to
and
Yellowknife.
Wow.
Churchill in
Oh,
Manitoba,
Manitoba.
Yeah.
where you can only take a train to go.
I heard you can get there by polar bear too, but
Sure, yeah.
By polar bear. Okay, I've never been there either. I've been to Iqaluit,
well, that's pretty crazy.
right? That's a long ways away. Yellowknife is pretty cool. I mean, I would skip it in the winter.
You
'cause
should
it's-
do a show in Alert. I think it's the northernmost last part of Canada that exists. I think that's accurate. It's called Alert,
Alert Bay.
but it's literally just like a small station for radios and
Probably I would say Hawaii is more difficult to get to than those places, because even a lot of people in BC they haven't been to
No.
Hawaii.
No, I
So
haven't
I've done
been there.
the difficult part. Now it's Yellowknife, just a straight up drive.
Right.
Yeah.
So after you go to the Yukon and you do this Yukon tour, where are you going next?
Manitoba.
Manitoba.
wow. So that's a leap. Are you going there from the northern way down?
No, I'm gonna go back to Prince George.
He's got that comedian with him. That comedian might be like, "Whoa, dude! I wasn't planning to go to Manitoba."
This comedian unfortunately has a girlfriend, has a life.
Oh, so that's
A life.
a life.
Oh, I don't
Right.
have a life. Yeah.
Well, you know what though? Your aspiration to hit all these towns. I mean, if you had a partner in life, it might make it more challenging because they do require more time.
Well, not always for the worst, but I mean, it definitely adds an element.
Adds an element, right?
The only possibility for that is like a woman who is just willing to travel as much as I do, which I don't think exists.
I don't know. We're calling all people out there. Is there any women
Ladies, I'm sure.
Yeah.
who are willing to travel constantly?
Oh, there's lots. I've seen them all the time.
And I'm only planning to travel even more intensely now.
Right, as things lift up and things open.
Like I have plans to go to Russia, Saudi Arabia. Like I'm now.
you do?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Nice.
phenomenal. Okay, so when you go to those countries, you just do the comedy in English, or
So what I do is I'm gonna probably like start like couch surfing for a few months.
Okay.
So when I started doing comedy in Canada, I was couch surfing a lot of time just to get to know the people, everything. So I'll probably like couch. Are you familiar with roofing?
yes,
So it's like you sort of volunteer at some farms, and you get to know the people, learn the language. I'll probably
Oh.
do that, learn a little bit like the local language, and then try to do comedy, or even just for the experience.
wow,
That's pretty
That's-
ambitious
that's
for
pretty
sure.
cool.
That
Wow.
is cool.
Wow, I'm blown away. because-
Especially Russia. Like that's pretty awesome.
I'm gonna go to the place where I feel the most uncomfortable with,
okay, and why? What's the why?
because Russian are not like people here who are like multicultural. So when they see a foreigner, they are usually sort of like not like necessarily friendly, and they act a little bit cold.
Okay,
Yeah, and I want to get into the situation to see if I can get out of it.
to see if you can cope with it.
That's
That's
pretty
like
cool.
that's a big challenge
That's
though to
pretty
put on
cool.
yourself.
Driving across Russia, or even I was thinking about hitchhiking, because I hitchhiked across Canada 5 times. So if I hitchhike across Russia, that will be even a more amazing experience.
So how do you book your shows if you're hitchhiking across the country? Like, is it easy to get picked up?
So
Have
in
you
the
ever hitchhiked?
past, that's a very good question because I left enough room so that like I've only missed one show in the 2 years when I was hitchhiking.
Really?
Yeah.
So people are just like awesome and they just pull over and pick you up.
No. So
No.
I leave enough room, right?
Yeah.
Let's say if I were drive, I know where I'm gonna be exactly. But if I'm hitchhiking, I'm gonna book the next show in like 2 weeks. So I'll make sure that I'll be
Okay.
there on
So
time.
how long, like, really would you have to stand on the side of the road though to like get picked up?
Sometimes days.
Days.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
You're
That's
dedicated.
That's dedication. That's
In like all the weathers of any
I
Canada
hitchhiked
throws all of them at you.
I hitchhiked when it was -30.
Oh, you did.
I put like 2 winter coats on.
so that was his winter training paid off. Just saying.
Oh,
Came in handy. Thank you, Mom and Dad,
Yeah,
for putting
when
me
they're
through
training,
winter
yeah.
training
they
because
knew.
they knew that I could handle it. That's pretty good, hey, Brian.
You redeemed yourself.
I redeemed myself today. That's incredible. Like I'm just enamored because I can't even imagine doing that. Like, do you see any time in your future when it's like, okay, I want to be, where's your end? Where are you going to be in the end? Do you want to like remain in Canada and have residency here, or will you go back home?
Probably not because I think I've lived in China 17 years, Canada 10 years, right? So I think I probably wanted to explore the territory that I haven't been on. So, yeah, probably like Europe or Africa, South America.
And do you keep a permanent residence anywhere?
Not at this moment. Probably at some point I will, but once again though, if I start traveling like that, then probably I'm gonna lose the permanent residency. So, I don't know. Since COVID, every month was the different policy. Everything every month was a different decision I make. So
you have all your personal belongings with you?
in Prince George, I have my car in Prince George, so I have about half of my belongings with me in Prince George.
Wow.
That you could fit. I couldn't fit into a car. Just right, Brian? I need like a
Holy.
support vehicle for the vehicle for
We
the
needed
trip.
to get the bus to get to the airport.
It's true. It's true. Like, it's true.
By living in that lifestyle, right, really minimums my life. I don't need to worry about like cleaning everything. So I used to live only on 2 my backpacks. So my life was very simple, and so that I could just focus my comedy.
You know what I love about it? It allows you to hyper focus on what you're trying to achieve the most, right?
Yeah.
We live in such a world of so many distractions that
Too many stuff.
too many
Oh.
stuff, and it just stops you. So it's that hyper focus when you shut the world off and you do only this and you reduce your belongings to that. Yeah, you're going to be great at what you do.
I enjoy the life right now the most because every time I'm about to, let's say, get comfortable or settle down in one apartment or house, that's the time I gotta leave.
Yeah.
So always leave me a little bit the missing
Yearning.
right? Yeah. So I'm not gonna like I'm so bored of this. I don't have that feeling.
Wow.
So do you have any hobbies?
Oh yeah. I used to play soccer. I still watch a lot of them, and because I'm doing comedy, so I don't want it to get injured. So I only watch right now.
Sure. Do you do any art or anything like that? Or?
I do a little bit the fruits crafting. Like I can show you my fruit work.
Oh, that's
You're a
cool.
fruit ninja.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so cool. Oh, we should have
That's
known
cool.
this. We would have had fruit. We could have done
Oh, we're
Oh.
discovering this is the fun part.
right. Okay, are you coming back through Fort Nelson so we can do some fruit ninja stuff? Do you
That would
need
be
to,
awesome.
I think you need to do something on the computer. It's fuzzy. You probably got to reset something. Just saying. I don't really know.
Oh, it should clear up.
Okay, we're good then. We're good. That's pretty cool. Have you done any of those competitions that do the fruit work?
And many people suggest me that I should do the show Canadian Chef, Canadian, or what's the
Oh
show?
yeah.
Because I always cooked for them, and I love cooking, so probably I would have.
You should go on Chop,
That's awesome. So
right?
But that's not my priority. My the one show I really get on, and I don't think I have told any other media. This is my first time. This is sort of my idea.
exclusive.
Oh, exclusive interview.
Yeah, I want to get on that ice trucker show.
Ice
Oh,
truckers.
that's cool.
Okay.
I've been a training class 1, so I'm already, if they offer me a role, I would drive the semi truck.
Wow.
Okay, is there any people from the Ice Truckers show
Yeah.
that would like a comedian on?
What is it
a
about
Chinese
this?
person? It's got to be the first Chinese person ever on that show.
You got to be the world's first of the Chinese, right? That you just kind of be the first of everything. That'd be a cool.
And
goal.
what they do exactly what I'm doing. It's being adventurous and explore all the unknown territory. Right, drive on the ice. That's exactly what I'm hoping to do.
So my dad was a logger. So as like a little kid, we drove on ice roads as a little kid, and I got to do the radio calling.
Oh,
That was my job, was the radio caller. And
I've
then my
actually
dad
drove.
would give people trouble for the swearing on the
I
radio.
actually drove on ice roads,
How
so I know
cool.
what that's like with some pretty heavy stuff on too. So it's pretty exciting. But what's your draw? What is it about it that you want to do
Because
that
no
for?
Chinese person ever did it.
and then the Chinese comedian part.
Right. So there was some people in Fort Nelson who were on, have you watched the
Canadian version show, right?
gold mining one though? Have you seen that
Oh,
one?
no.
Okay, so
not
there's
that
the one where they're gold mining in the Yukon, and there's like
Hang on.
local people who've been on that.
I'll refresh this.
What's happening?
Can't have botchy vids. 'Cause I'm-
We
Welcome back.
Welcome
For those of you
back.
just joining us.
You're watching What's Happening with Chastity and Brian. We went offline for a second. We had I don't know what's happening. It's kind of glitchy. I don't know if it's glitchy to the viewers or just to us.
I did what was asked of me by
Jesse.
Jesse.
Yeah, so I don't know. We just keep rolling. Jesse, if you can hear us and we're glitching out, let us know.
Yes, just send me a message.
Just send a message and we'll get that fixed right up.
I've got you on my.
So what are you looking
viewer.
forward to the most about going to the Yukon?
experience and meeting new friends, making new connections.
Definitely.
And help a family whose members suffered from the COVID complication.
Oh, wow. Well, that's pretty cool. To be able to help people makes a huge difference in life when you can help people. But you're facing some, more wintry weather as you head north.
Mhm.
I hear it's been snowing north of Fort Nelson. Did you bring your winter coats?
I brought 2.
You brought 2.
It's not yet because I literally just came from Teslin.
Right.
Oh,
It's perfectly fine. Pretty nice drive too, because the fall colors are in like full radiant
bloom.
splendor.
but we're going all the way up to Dawson City.
And I heard
Should
it
be
was
okay.
I was heard
Should
it
be
was
okay.
snowing in Whitehorse because there was some hunters that wanted to get out
And
of Fort Nelson.
It's usually sprinkly. It's like
Sprinkly,
it's
just
there
a
for the
skiff.
day and
It's just a skiff.
done for
Brian,
that.
on his trip up there, he got to see like a huge grizzly bear.
First time ever. It's something I'd never seen in the 10 years that I've been here, and so I was like, I need to see one. And every chance I got, I got bamboozled every single time. I was like, come on. And
Yeah.
then finally I seen one and I was like, oh,
Yeah, it's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's done some pretty cool stuff. I don't know if you checked out his videos, but he went and rode his pedal bike from the Northwest Territory border to Fort Nelson
Wow.
through a herd of bison.
yeah, it was
So
great.
you might need to hang out with him, and then you guys can have this really
Just whistle at them.
Well,
this cool story
Don't
and
get too
journey.
close.
if you ever want to do stand-up comedy, let me know.
He'll teach you.
Hey, I'm
I'll
always
bring you
up
on
for
the
new.
road.
I'm always up for new stuff.
I don't know if Melinda will like that idea.
Maybe she'll get a laugh out of it. Wah.
Maybe she will. Hard to say. So tomorrow night you're in Watson Lake, and what's your venue in Watson Lake? Just so if anyone's watching on here from Watson Lake.
Watson Lake Recreation Center.
Oh, that's it. So what's your max capacity? You might be able to have more people up there.
Yeah, so I think they can have 100.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
That's pretty cool. And again, if anyone is in Fort Nelson watching, Fengzhou is at Boston Pizza tonight at about 8 p.m. But he says the comedy always starts a little late. So if it's 8 o'clock and you're like on the fence, you still have time to get there. Don't worry, because things always run a little bit late.
Well, I'm gonna go because he brought me all these gifts. Of course, it's
Please.
see, he lured me in.
Right? He did lure you, and that's a good way. So
It worked.
do you bring the food to like all the guests at the comedy show, or just us? Maybe it's just us.
It varies. I always try to once again show appreciation to my hosts, my media relation. Yeah, in being very thankful that they're giving me this opportunity to tell the world who I am.
Well, I think it's pretty cool. It's pretty
Canada's pretty gracious. I've toured Canada myself with music bands, and I can say the same thing. You can go up on the microphone and say, "Hey, I just need a place to stay," and you'll have multiple offers.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's the most amazing and Canadian thing I've ever seen.
Mhm.
We're
It was
really
like,
nice people.
oh, and fed and everything, just like the full meal deal.
I get that. That's pretty cool.
And I never take it for granted doing that in this country. I've heard that from other countries come here and they say it's like, this is easy. You're treated like royalty here. Like it's such a wonderful thing to be known for.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's a cool thing to be known for. We're pretty awesome, I have to say.
I'll take
well,
it.
you know, viewers, if you are getting the fuzzy screen like we are, we're very sorry.
Take your drunk goggles off.
It's not really us, it's you.
The swamp thing.
It's you, it's not us. I'm a little concerned about this, Brian.
I'm not concerned about it.
You're not?
If you're listening and you can hear us, it's all good.
It's all good. So just a reminder, we also have our regular show that is Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we're not super prepared, but we are prepared. What are we going to talk about this Sunday? Come on, Brian.
Digital and social media reduction and how to live a more fruitful life by pruning some of this from our everyday.
So actually,
focus.
we're just like taking the cue from Fengzhou. It's all just kind of lining up because he's, changed his life to do comedy. And now we're suggesting you get rid of social media, except for jessfm.ca and Jess TV on Roku TV.
I should digress for 1 second. It's not to get rid of
I'm
it.
kidding.
It's to reduce and
Reduce
just
it.
have more meaningful conversations with real people, like we are now. It's
so
it's much
cool.
different. Like we were just talking about Zoom versus being here.
Yeah.
It's a much different
So much,
experience.
yeah.
And that's truly why we added this show in tonight, because it makes such a big difference if we're able to connect and be in person with someone rather than have them on Zoom. You feel like you know them.
Yeah.
Right?
It's much more personal. Much
Yeah.
more personal. Here's a funny fact. So this whole time, this is funny. Wait, your name is spelled wrong.
I know my name is spelled wrong today, so I'm gonna call Jesse on that because that is not how you spell my name. So
my name's supposed to be the one that is spelled wrong. So.
I know, and yours is correct. So we're gonna have
Watch
to have,
next time he'll spell mine wrong on purpose.
Well, I hope so. I really hope so. So do you have any, before we end our show, do you have any, just like some teaser jokes you might want to share with us?
Absolutely. I find English language is a very polite language. The other day I learned the polite way of saying "get out of here" is "can I help you?"
Can I?
It's the Karen special.
Can I help you? That's pretty good. I like that. Okay, come on, throw us a few more. We've got a few more minutes left. If anyone's watching from Fort Nelson, come on and check them out tonight. Brian's still laughing, so that was a really good one.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, so give us another one.
All the other are not PG.
Oh, not PG. Okay, this is not a PG.
I have to admit that my.
Okay, that's okay. You're probably playing in the lounge. That's perfect. Everybody needs a laugh away from their children. That's for sure. Any other questions you have, Brian?
No, I'm excited to see the set tonight. I really am. I love to laugh. I've always loved to laugh. I love dad jokes, the bad ones. That's
The
me.
bad dad jokes.
Well, the ones that are like, ha ha, that's not really funny. And I was like, it's hilarious. Life is better when you're laughing about
Life is better when you laugh. It really changes your perspective. And I mean, I'm sure everybody sees on social media all the time, be kind and smile at somebody can change your life. The same thing about having a laugh.
You want a funny story?
Yeah.
I was in a car once with a friend of mine, and I couldn't drive at the time. I was younger. And so an older friend of ours who had a car was driving in it, and we're sitting there bombing down the road, like taking us to the grocery store or something. And then all of a sudden we hear, and we're like, what was that? And like, that moment where you're just so embarrassed and you're just like, nothing. It's like a chunk of your engine is like on the highway. And it's like, no, it's fine. Brush it off. And so that always stands out in my mind. And in the most inappropriate moments when you're supposed to be like dead silent, like in a library or something, I'll remember that.
And you laugh out loud.
No, I turn my head like this. And
you try to hold it back.
You just try to, unlaugh. Is that a word?
So yesterday we were doing passport photos, and that was our problem, trying not to smile. Can you make your best angry face? And then when you try to make an angry face, you can't make an angry face. Or your head's out of the shot. So poor Hadley had to do like 100 pictures.
Wow.
So it, because some of us just can't make mad faces very well.
Well, maybe that's a good thing, because it
Right?
means you want to laugh.
You want to laugh.
I believe intrinsically as human beings, we want to be happy. And so anything that draws us to that is what we should focus on in our lives. So anything that makes you laugh, good, bad, whatever, it's hilarious in my opinion.
So that's the biggest reason you switched from finance to comedy, is just because you wanted to have happiness.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Wow, that's incredible.
Well, the world's financial state's a big joke anyway. So
everybody's in the red. It's okay. Everybody's in the red. I think it's pretty phenomenal that you all of your possessions are in your vehicle and you live that minimal life. It's not something like I could do.
That's honorable.
That's honorable that you're like so dedicated to your craft. And I imagine that dedication has really paid off, because you would make leaps and bounds.
Yeah, I would say like I take opportunities that other comedians are not willing to take. They got family, they got all the other career that I need to worry about. Me, I just need to worry about get to the next place and to perform.
So when you're in these long car rides by yourself, are you telling jokes to yourself to like build the set?
Different things. I listen to more comedy albums to to do more study. I listen to different. I try to learn different languages. I call families. Many things.
How many languages can you speak?
Two, but I'm trying to learn French and Russian right now.
French and Russian. I can't speak very many languages.
Gotta work on that.
Well, some people have an ear for it, and some of us don't have
anything can be learned. It's a matter of patience and willingness
and dedication.
That's what this channel's about. Self-improvement.
Like getting my name spelled correctly.
Yeah, JP's getting the gears.
If he's not watching right now, I'm gonna tell him after the show, be like, dude, what's up? I thought we were friends.
Okay, ready? Poker face.
Okay, so
turn it off.
Thank you so much for watching tonight, and we'll be live again on Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you're in Fort Nelson, come out to Boston Pizza at 8 o'clock. Well, go early, spend some money at Boston Pizza, make them some money. Everyone could use some good time. But tune in again on Sunday. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Poker face.
I can't. Where did Jesse go? I think he forgot to shut us off. Can you shut us off?